Good afternoon, everyone. This is a recorded version of the live webinar that we have had on the 27th of April. Welcome to M.I.M.R. And obviously, we don't have any housekeeping to do since this is a recorded version that will complement or be an alternative to the live one that we've had, and some people were not able, unfortunately, to join us, so this is an alternative for them. The lecture or the webinar is a comprehensive guide for medical students preparing for specialty training in the USA, United Kingdom, EU, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, and it's presented by our company, Malate Institute for Medical Research. Duration is supposed to be 60 minutes, but I believe it will be much less since it's just a recorded version. There won't be Q&A and other parts that we've had in the live one. This is myself as the presenter of this webinar. My name is OmerIdris. I'm the CEO of Malate Institute for Medical Research. As far as my education is concerned, I have graduated from Western Michigan University. I graduated with honor, and I have had the privilege of being inducted into Phi Beta Kappa, which is the oldest and most prestigious honor society in the United States. As far as clinical background, I am an aspiring craniofacial surgeon. Research experience, my research background started when I did an internship at the lab of the renowned scientist, Dr. Thomas Rastine, who is a Duke-trained immunologist, and I was working on pneumococcal pneumonia. Did some work on PCR sequencing for single B-cell lymphocytes, which is naive B-cells. I was doing PCR, and the goal was to see the mutation level between young and old patients. But anyway, and then I transitioned into Dr. Karim Isani's lab, where I worked on oncolytic virotherapy, and the project that I was leading was assessing the efficacy of TPV, which is Tanapax virus, engineered Tanapax virus, on melanoma when administered via intravenous or intramuscular route rather than just local delivery. And then the result of that was published in a peer-reviewed journal called Genes. I received an award from Western Michigan University called Innovation Award for my research and contributions to biomedical research. And I founded M.I.M.R in 2022, and we went officially live in 2024. I've trained over 10 researchers so far who have published for the first time with us as M.I.M.R. I've published numerous research articles ranging from basic science, clinical research like systematic review. I've done lit review, book chapters, case reports, you name it. So thankfully, and a book chapter as well. So thankfully, I have had a bit of everything when it comes to research and the types of research that are present out there. The objectives of this webinar is to understand how research enhances your application, learn about publications and their importance in the application process, discover ways to get involved in research with limited experience, avoid common mistakes applicants make in the process, and then introduction to our company M.I.M.R and how we can help you get over 15 research items that will put you on the top of residency applicants, we believe, in just about over 8 months. The persisting question is why research matters in a specialty training application. Obviously, residency and specialty training program are highly competitive worldwide, and everyone who is watching this webinar would like to do some sort of clinical training in the USA or UK or all these other Western countries. Now, meeting basic requirements, let's talk about the United States, which is to have your medical degree, having a step 1 and having a step 2. Those are basic requirements. Those are not enough to match into any specialty, really, let alone a very competitive specialty. So we brought some data for you that about 50% of IMGs, which is international medical graduates, match. So there's another 50% that do not match. right? So not everyone who applies actually match into specialties. If you wonder why is the reason, do you think they didn't have step 1 or step 2? No, of course they had, because if you don't have those basic requirements, you can't even apply, right? So these statistics highlight how important it is to have something above the basic requirements. And those above basic requirements are called extracurricular activities. There are so many extracurricular activities, but research is one of the most impactful activities that you can have in addition to the basic requirements. And this was from a paper published by the American Medical Association. Part B of why research matters is that it demonstrates commitments. You shows dedication to academic medicine and long-term investment in your specialty. Proves analytical skills, because you're obviously going through all these tough and hard research papers, you're analyzing it, you're trying to understand it, and then you're trying to synthesize new knowledge and new information. You're also improving clinical practice. Obviously, you see there's always update to guidelines, to dosage, to treatment, and all of that is being informed by research that people do. And once you get trained and you publish, you are part of that big work. It also shows initiative, that you can start something on your own and go very far with it. This is another data that we have that shows you the difference between someone who has research and someone who do not have research. And for you, or most of you, I believe, you are a non-US citizen international medical graduates. The match rate is 51% overall. With research, it's 56%. Without research, it's 35%. So there is a huge difference between these two numbers. Those are people without research. Now, we do not know what they have had in addition to their basic requirement. They might have had a killing step 2 score, very high step 2 score. They might have had a very long and rich clinical experience prior to applying. We know people who are already attendings in other countries, and then they apply to this match. Let's say someone who's already an attending or a consultant of internal medicine and want to practice in the US. Most of the states don't accept those trainings, so you'd have to repeat your residency. That person is also competing with you as a young medical graduate. So how can you compete with these people if you're going to walk into it without having any research experience or publications? So this is a data that you should look very carefully at and determine if you want to add research to your arsenal or list of things that you've achieved on your CV prior to applying to any match or specialty training. Overcoming the challenges of getting involved in research. Common challenges we encounter with people is limited time, balancing clinical rotations, exams, and other responsibilities, lack of experience, and English not being your first language. And I would say for each one of these three, there is a way to fix. Be proactive. Set aside just about 1 hour a day or 30 minutes and just call it research hour or 30-minute research time, and do whatever activities you need to do that has to do with research, nothing else. Not studying, not seeing patients, not socializing with your family or friends, just fully dedicated to research. And that 1 hour over time will give you, will do you some wonderful stuff. Start small. You're not gonna get a Nobel Prize from your first research project, so just be realistic and you'll get there. Or you can also join a research group. Streamline the process and avoid the hustle by working with an organized team that provides mentorship and structure. And M.I.M.R is an example for that. Common mistakes applicants make and how to avoid them. Understanding the importance of research. You should not just do research. It has to be research that is impactful. Now that you understood the importance of it, is you also need to know that not every research paper is impactful. So you have to choose very wisely who you work with in order to produce a high quality research article, right? Other mistakes people also make is not networking or seeking guidance. They just think on their own they will be able to do everything, which is impossible. You have to work with others. You have to work with people who are already established in whatever field you are aiming for. Not demonstrating research application in your field. If you're trying to become a radiologist and you have the opportunity to work in research in radiology, do that. Don't publish in plastic surgery or in, let's say, endocrinology and applying for a radiology residency. Now, make no mistake, it's better to have a research, even if it is not in your desired specialty, than not having at all. But if you have the privilege of choosing, make sure you choose the research to be in your specialty. I hope that is very clear, guys. I don't want that to be misconstrued or misunderstood. How to leverage research experience during your application. I'll give you some CV tips. Make sure you list everything: publications, abstracts, posters, conferences that you have been to, even attending these webinars. List everything that you can, that you have done on your CV. Obviously, you're not gonna say, I walked the dog on the park. It has to be meaningful things, but just make sure that you list all of your achievements. Personal statement. It's the voice of your journey. Put everything of your life in that statement. It is not to be an explanation of your resume. You're not going there to talk about the clinical stuff that you have done or the college you graduated from. This has to be like reading literally a novel. It has to be very artistic. Some people might disagree, but that's my approach. It has to be very artistic. You have to link why you want to become a medical doctor, and then swiftly you move into your achievements, your research, your clinical experience. And then clinical experience, you're not going to teach them medicine in that personal statement. Those people already know medicine. They are doctors who are reviewing these statements. You're going to share anecdotes. You're going to share stories of patients that you've worked with and that you've made an impact on. You're going to share stories of advocacy when you've seen something wrong and you're conscious and your moral urged you to stand by what is right. Those are the stories that you should share, right? And then letters of recommendation. Choose wisely who you ask to write your letter. Don't go for this is a very famous doctor, and if he writes me one, it will be seen very positively. It shouldn't go that way. It should come from people who know you truly. And by know you truly, obviously, we're not talking about your grandma or something. It has to be still a professional person that you've worked with, but someone who knows your skills, knows stories about you, knows you very deep to be able to write a very meaningful letter. All right, sorry for that. How can we help you as an M.I.M.R to do training and to train you in research? We provide personalized research mentorship. We have opportunities for collaborations, research publications, enhance your CV and applications, and so on, right? And I will talk about this in details. So doctors that we've worked with previously, you have Dr. I think I've made 2 slides of this, so let's just skip to this one. Dr. Tian Zhang, for example, from City of Hope. Yan Xing as well from City of Hope. Ramona Lewis from Western Michigan University, my home university. Dr. Kyle Versteeg, who's a plastic surgeon associate with Bronson Hospital, and Diana Westgate, or Dr. Diana Westgate, a Harvard-trained dermatologist. Those are the type of people that we've collaborated with. We have a long list of other scientists that I haven't mentioned, but this is just an example of who we work with and who you will be able to be in touch with through us. When you publish, and let's say Dr. Diana Westgate is a principal investigator or corresponding author on that paper, by default you already established some sort of connection with that person, and you might be able to send them an email and say, hey, I'm someone who published a paper with you, and can I shadow you if you're already based in the States, or can you write me a letter of recommendation, or so on. So it's obviously much stronger connection than if you never publish with her, for example, you know. Example of a previous project that our company have made, just one example, is a systematic review on the efficacy of hyperbaric oxygen therapy for patients who had nipple-sparing mastectomy followed by a reconstruction surgery, breast reconstruction surgery. And we're basically looking at 1,000 papers from which we've taken 63 patients who met our strict eligibility criteria, and the conclusions of the study was that HbO2 showed promising improvement in healing and reduced complications after NSM, which is nipple-sparing mastectomy. So the paper is very long, obviously it's not possible to explain all of it here. This is just a snapshot of our paper being indexed by PubMed, the National Library of Medicine, which is a sign that we do research with good quality when they are indexed in PubMed. This is also a snapshot of an acceptance of a book chapter that I have authored. It's a book chapter on breast cancer. These are our research plans. We start with our basic researcher plan, and it's ideal for aspiring researchers who want to build a solid foundation in medical research. What's included when you purchase this plan? You have plus 8 months of hands-on research training, guided review of plus 1,000 scientific papers, including how to apply inclusion and exclusion criteria and assess study quality, deep familiarity with the research surrounding your chosen medical specialty, full training in systematic review methodology, including research question formulation, database navigation like PubMed, Scopus, etc., data extraction and analysis, data visualization, and figure generation. Continuing with the basic plan, in addition to what I have already mentioned, you will be trained on scientific writing and journal formatting, journal selection and submission training, guidance on how to address peer reviewers' comments, one systematic review publication in a PubMed index journal, free co-presentation at 2 medical conferences, 5 research items added to your portfolio, 1 peer review article, 2 conference abstracts, and 2 poster presentations, and option support to create and build a professional profile on ResearchGate, including uploading your 5 research outputs for academic recognition. The second plan is advanced researcher plan, which includes everything that I have mentioned in your basic plan. So you will already have that with you once you purchase a higher plan, which is the advanced. So in addition to that, you have a second research article, a literature review, 2 additional conferences to attend and co-present at medical conferences, 2 additional abstracts, and 2 additional posters. So this expands your research portfolio from 5 to 10 total research items. Finally, which is the most recommended plan, is M.I.M.R scientist plan. This is the most elite and recommended package that we have for those aiming to reach the pinnacle of academic, or the top of academic research, and achieve lasting recognition. With this plan, you will have additional 5 research items, being your total being 15 high impact research outputs. With this plan, you will have what we described on the basic plan and the advanced plan, and then obviously what we are offering here with the M.I.M.R scientist plan. You will have publication of a book chapter in a peer-reviewed academic book. So you will publish a book chapter that will be part of an entire book that will later, when it's compiled, will be an entire book that you can get to keep a physical copy of, or PDF, or whatever form you would like. This package offers the highest level of mentorship, authorship, and academic exposure, preparing you for a future as a published thought leader in your field. Types of conferences we attend: local, regional, international. All of the above can be available virtual or in person. We will do our best to match you with the most convenient conference that works well for your schedule and location and so on. Q&A, obviously, I will not be able to take any questions since it is recorded, but I welcome everyone to send us a message on Instagram or send us an email. I'll share my contact information with all of you. Key takeaways, obviously, we talked about research, why it's important, publications, and how to get involved with us or with someone else. These are all the references I have used, so all the informations that I have mentioned are not information that I've made up. They're actually backed by knowledge, by scientific knowledge, by research papers, and that's how science gets to be done, right? You can't just say sentences and assume people to just believe it. These are the evidence for all the information that I have claimed to be true. This is my final slide. This is our Instagram page. I will leave a link on this YouTube video. This is my email, direct email, OmerIdris at Malate Institute or Malate Incorporation USA.com. This is our Instagram, Malate Institute Research. Follow us on Instagram, email me, and I will be more than happy to respond to you. It's my sincere hope, my sincere pleasure that you have learned something from this webinar. And until then, stay safe.